The way it all came about actually was not an initiative that I came up with. I would not have had the imagination to do that, I must tell you. What happened was, immediately after my book came out, in English of course, because of the burst of international publicity it received, my email inbox overflowed with messages from young Muslims in the Arab world asking me a question. When are you going to get this book translated into Arabic so that we can share these ideas with our friends, whom they assured me were hungry for honest conversation about Islam, since they live lives of daily censorship, both in their households and in their societies? And my standard answer to them was, come on, name one Arab publisher that'll have the guts to translate this book, let alone circulate it. What, are you kidding me? And most of these kids, to their credit, wrote back to say, well, so what, Irshad? I mean, you're right, but so what? You get the book translated into Arabic. You then post that translation on your website. And when we can download it, free of charge, as a PDF, right? They were young, but not born yesterday, you know what I'm saying? When we can read it as a PDF, that means that we will be able to read it in privacy and therefore safety. Something we wouldn't have if we were carrying a physical copy of the book around with us. And that in turn means we will create the opportunities to share these ideas with our friends.
I want to talk about that because, I mean, the 2 million downloads of your book in Arabic, I mean, suggests that there's obviously a thirst in that particular region. Did you see the Arab awakening coming? Were there hints in terms of your blogging and your emailing that this region was ready to explode in a whole new way?
There have been hints for years now, and I've been, privy to them for sure. After the previous book, The Trouble with Islam Today, came out, among the first flood of emails that I got was from young Muslims in the Middle East asking me, when are you going to get this book translated into Arabic so we can share these ideas with our friends? And that's where the idea of translating it into Arabic myself and putting it up on my website for free of charge download came.
How do you, in all of this, reach your audience of younger Muslims?
Well, I have to say that young Muslims actually taught me how to reach them. After The Trouble with Islam Today came out, and because of the burst of international publicity it received, my email inbox overflowed with emails from young Muslims in the Middle East, first and foremost, asking me, when are you going to get the book translated into Arabic so we can share these ideas with our friends? And my standard, thoroughly unimaginative response to them was, please, name one Arab publisher in this fragile post-9/11 moment that'll have the guts to translate a book like this, let alone publish and circulate it. And to their credit, most of these kids wrote back to say, you're right, so what? Irshad, you get the book translated into Arabic, then post that translation on your website as a PDF so that it can't be hacked and tricksters can't change your words around. And when we can download it that way, free of charge, they're young, but they're not born yesterday. When we can download it that way, we will create the opportunities to share these ideas with our friends. We won't just download it, we'll then photocopy it and circulate it. And I have to tell you, Lee, I was rather skeptical about the idea at first, but so when Kinneret, my now Israeli publisher, approached me to have the book translated and published in Hebrew, I had a dilemma on my hands. I didn't question the necessity of having this book out in Hebrew, but I really worried about the strategy. I mean, should I sign on with a Hebrew language publisher before I secure an Arabic language one? But wait a minute. What if no Arab publisher is willing to touch this book with a barge pole? Should I let the dissemination of this message of Islamic reform be dependent upon somebody else's decisions? Of course not. And yet, would the credibility of this message of Islamic reform be severely undermined if I did go with a Hebrew language publisher first? You can see what a pickle I was in. And I brought this dilemma, since I'm bad at making my own decisions and I always learn from other people. I brought this dilemma to my public audiences, and I would ask them, what should I do? Without any exaggeration, I can tell you that they were split down the middle. Half said, go for it, it's important to get this message out in any way possible. And the other half said, absolutely not, you have to wait. Well, the solution came from a young Muslim woman. She was visiting some family in the United States. She lived in Saudi Arabia. And she was attending one of my public lectures. She wrote to me afterwards to say, how about this? Why don't you take your royalties and get the book translated into Arabic yourself, and then post that Arabic translation on your website. And when we Muslim youth can download this Arabic translation free of charge, that means that we can read the book in relative privacy, and that means relative safety, something we wouldn't have if we were just carrying the book around with us. And in turn, what that means, she said, is that we will have the opportunity to share these ideas with our friends. And she reminded me that there is a desperation for these ideas where she comes from, and it reminded me of the desperation that I heard from the young Muslims in North America who would say to me, we need voices such as yours to help us open up this religion of ours.